In Illinois, everyone deserves a fair chance at finding housing. That's why understanding fair housing laws is crucial. The Federal Fair Housing Act was a landmark legislation established in 1968 designed to combat discrimination in real estate transactions, including buying, renting, or financing a home. Originally, the Fair Housing Act protected against discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. Over time, the Fair Housing Act was amended to protect against disability, family status, and sexual orientation discrimination. Along with the Federal Fair Housing Act, individual states passed their own laws. Illinois passed the Illinois Human Rights Act, adding further protected classes including ancestry, age, order of protection status, marital status, pregnancy, or unfavorable discharge from military service. It is important to not only have an understanding of the federal requirements of the Fair Housing Act, but also state fair housing regulations. The Federal Fair Housing Act, as well as individual states, periodically adjust their regulations and requirements pertaining to fair housing. Illinois has recently updated their rules and requirements for fair housing. As of 2024, Illinois has updated the Illinois Human Rights Act to add two further protected classes for fair housing, which are immigration status and source of income. This video will explain the new rules and requirements regarding immigration status and source of income discrimination in housing. Immigration as a protected class now protects all individuals, regardless of their citizenship or visa status, from discrimination in housing. The update to the Illinois Human Rights Act prohibits housing providers from using a person's immigration status to discriminate against them when renting an apartment, buying a home, applying for a mortgage, or receiving housing-related services. Under the Illinois Human Rights Act, immigration status means a person's actual or perceived citizenship or immigration status. Some examples of immigration status that are included but are not limited to native-born or naturalized U.S. citizens, permanent residents, asylees or refugees, work, school, or travel visa holders, temporary protected status, deferred action recipients, and undocumented individuals. As of 2024, in Illinois, all immigration statuses are equally protected from discrimination in housing, regardless of whether the immigration status is actual or perceived. Not only are prospective and future tenants protected from housing discrimination based on their immigration status, but that protection also extends to current tenants as well. Some examples of immigration status discrimination in housing may include preferring housing applicants with a certain immigration status over applicants with a different immigration status, altering the terms and conditions of a rental or sale because of the applicant's immigration status, discouraging individuals from applying to rent property or to buy property because they are immigrants, advertising or making statements based on immigration status, such as, quote, citizens only, falsely telling an applicant that a property is not available because the housing provider wants to rent to another person with a different immigration status, evicting a tenant because of their immigration status, asking applicants questions about their immigration status when doing so is not required under federal or state law, charging higher fees or security deposits because the applicant has a particular immigration status, and threatening to report or reporting tenants to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement because the tenants complained about living conditions or reported incidents of discrimination. Housing providers may only ask applicants about their immigration status where they are required to do so to comply with state or federal laws. A housing provider may not ask about immigration status for a general purpose that is unrelated to a specific requirement in state or federal law. An example of when a housing provider may ask about an applicant's immigration status is if a housing provider receives funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development or other federal agency. The housing provider may need to ask an immigration status question to determine if the applicant is eligible to rent that unit. However, housing providers must be prepared to explain the purpose of the questioning and explain how the questioning specifically relates to the compliance with state or federal law. If a person experiences immigration status discrimination in housing, they can report the incident to the Illinois Department of Human Rights within 1 year from the date when the discrimination occurred. Alternatively, the person can file a lawsuit in state court within 2 years from the date when the discrimination occurred, regardless of whether or not the person reported the alleged discrimination to the Illinois Department of Human Rights. To prepare to report an incident of discrimination and to better help an investigation, it is suggested to keep detailed notes of your interactions when searching for housing, including taking photos or screenshots of advertisements and saving all related text messages and emails in a safe place. In Illinois, as of 2024, source of income has also been added as a protected class under the Illinois Human Rights Act. Source of income as a protected class ensures that no one can be denied housing because they rely on disability benefits, vouchers, or other lawful sources of income. Source of income has been a protected class in the city of Chicago under the Chicago Fair Housing Ordinance and in Cook County under the Cook County Human Rights Ordinance. But as of 2024, it is now a protected class throughout the state of Illinois. The Illinois Human Rights Act prohibits discrimination against a person based on their source of income when renting an apartment, buying a home, applying for a mortgage, or receiving housing-related services. In the Illinois Human Rights Act, source of income means the lawful manner by which an individual supports themselves and their dependents. In other words, a person's source of income is how they receive the money to pay for housing or housing-related services. Some examples of a person's source of income that are protected from discrimination under the Illinois Human Rights Act may include income from employment, housing choice vouchers, federal, state, local, and private housing assistance, emergency housing assistance payments, spousal maintenance and child support, retirement income, veterans benefits, Social Security retirement benefits, and Social Security disability insurance. Some examples of possible source of income discrimination under the Illinois Human Rights Act may include preferring tenants with employment income over tenants with other sources of income, discouraging applicants with non-employment income from applying to rent, screening out applicants receiving Social Security or other government assistance, rejecting applicants who can't provide pay stubs or W-2 forms, refusing to process or delaying a person's application because they intend to use a housing choice voucher, rejecting housing applicants because they rely on child support payments, refusing to rent to someone because they are employed seasonally or part-time, falsely telling an applicant that a property is not available because the landlord wants to rent to another person with a different source of income, charging higher fees or requiring different terms and conditions because a person receives income from non-employment sources. Not only does the Illinois Human Rights Act protect future tenants from housing discrimination based on their source of income, but it also protects existing tenants. If an existing tenant obtains a voucher or other new source of income, the housing provider must accept the new source of income, and they must take steps to meet any program requirements to accept the income, such as allowing an inspection. A housing provider can require proof of income so long as they accept proof of non-employment income, such as Social Security disability benefits or housing choice vouchers, in the same manner as proof of employment income. Housing providers may not use information about income in a way that has a discriminatory effect on applicants and tenants based on their source of income. The Illinois Human Rights Act requires housing providers to treat all applicants and tenants equally, regardless of their source of income. Equal treatment means that persons with housing choice vouchers and other subsidies must be given a fair opportunity to use those sources of income to pay for their housing. If a person is experiencing discrimination because of their source of income, they may report the incident to the Illinois Department of Human Rights within 1 year. Alternatively, the person may file a lawsuit in state court within 2 years, whether or not they reported the alleged discrimination to the Illinois Department of Human Rights. To help support an investigation of income discrimination, it is suggested that when searching for housing, to keep detailed notes of your interactions, including taking photos or screenshots of advertisements and saving all of your text messages and emails regarding the matter. The added protected classes under the Illinois Human Rights Act continue to build on the great foundation established by the passage of the Fair Housing Act in 1968 and will further the goal of ending discrimination in housing. The addition of immigration status and source of income as protected classes in Illinois is a great step towards eliminating housing discrimination in the state and help ensure equal opportunities for all Illinois residents to secure safe and affordable housing. It is very important to be aware of your rights regarding fair housing under both federal and state law. Hopefully this video was a helpful explanation of the most recent additions to fair housing regulations in the state of Illinois. For more resources on fair housing on both the state and federal level, you can visit the Resources tab on the UIC Fair Housing Clinic website, the Illinois Department of Human Rights website, or HUD.gov. By knowing and exercising your fair housing rights, you can contribute to building inclusive communities across Illinois. Together, we can ensure fair housing for everyone.